Good morning, reception, and welcome to Tuesday's English lesson. Now, today we've got something exciting at the end of the session, an exciting task. We're going to make our own rowboat using all the resources in our house, and then you'll just write a list of items that you used to make the boat. But today we're going to first read the whole story because we haven't read it all up to now. Before we do, just talk to your adult about what you remember about the story so far. And what list did we write last week? We're writing a little list today, but we wrote lists last week. Can you remember what it was for and what words we used? You can pause the video while you're talking to your adult about those questions, and I will move on to read the rest of the story. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his store. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked in the lost and found office, but nobody was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin had come from, but they just ignored him. Some birds are like that. If you can remember parts of this story, just join in. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. Oh dear. He wondered and wondered where this penguin had come from and how could he get him back home. He wanted to help the penguin, but didn't know how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbour and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was much too small to be heard over the big ship's horn. Can you make that horn sound also? So, together, the penguin and the boy would row to the South Pole. The boy took his rowboat out of the cupboard and they tested it for size and strength and to check whether there had any holes in the rowboat because they don't want to sink. They packed everything they would need and together they pushed the rowboat out to sea. You see them helping each other push the boat out to sea. They rowed south for many days and nights, with the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything that the boy said. They floated through good weather and bad. When the waves were as big as the mountains. Whoa, that looks a bit scary, doesn't it? But there's lots of noises on there. Until they finally reached the South Pole. The boy was delighted. He was ever so excited. But the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. Why do you think the penguin is sad? Can you talk to your adult about why you think the penguin is sad? The boy is taking him back home to where he belongs and he still looks sad. You can pause this while you're thinking about that question. The boy said goodbye and floated away. But as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever before. His head was down. He had a tear coming from his eye. I'm not sure why this penguin is so sad when he's back home where he belongs. It felt strange to be on his own, and the more he thought, the more he realised that he was making a big mistake. The boy thought he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost. He was just lonely, and I bet he wanted a friend. So quickly he turned the boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. At last he reached the South Pole. But when he got there was no penguin. The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Where could he be? I can see him. I can see him. Can you see him? Point to him on the picture. Can you see him? Sadly, the boy set off for home. There was no point telling stories because there was no one to listen to him except the wind and the waves. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see. What do you think he can see? I can't see anything, can you? I can see something in the distance, quite far away. I can just make it out. It looks like a shadow of a dark shadow of a dark object. What do you think it could be? It was the penguin. He gave the boy the biggest hug ever. And the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way home. The end. Did you enjoy that story? I enjoyed that story today. Now, this is the task that I was talking about. You've got a little task here because you're going to create your own boat and test whether your boat floats. You can use objects around the house, and I'd like you to write down the list of items that you used. Here's some examples. You could use a bottle, a straw, cork, lids. You can use any of those items. Before I start to write my list, I want to share how I've made my own little boat so I can start writing my lists. So I have a straw to hold up. Inside on the straw there, I've stuck it onto some blue tack. Well, it's actually called white tack, so I'll call it tack when I'm listing my items. And I've squashed my straw into the blue tack so that it stays up. I've also used paper for a flag, and I've used a plastic tub. So they're going to be on my list of items when I write my list in a minute. However, I just thought, while you're here watching me, I've got some water here. I want to see if my boat floats. Wish me luck. I'm going to put it in the water. I'm going to give it a blow. It does, it floats. So that's what I'd like you to do to see if you can get your boat to float. Write the list of items that you've used. You can make yours much more colourful than mine. You can use different things around your house. Just a little bit of fun, really. So, are you ready to write your list of items now? I'm going to use my example, all the resources that I used to make my boat. So I'm going to start off with my straw. I used a straw. Straw. In phase 5, you will learn that the AW at the end sometimes makes the R sound. Straw. I have used a tub, and it's actually a plastic tub. So plastic is a 2-syllable word. Split it in half. Plas, then tick. Plas, plas. Tick. Final part of this word is tub. Tub. I've got a straw, plastic tub, tack. Can you see it there? Tack. You could use Play-Doh, I suppose, or sellotape. I'm using tack. It usually has a CK if you was writing tack this way, but Blu Tack is spelt TAK because it's a brand. And our last part is paper, but I'm going to call this flag. I'm going to call it a flag. Flag. And that is my list. Your list should look different to mine because you may use different resources around your house. You could colour it in, decorate it so it looks beautiful, much better than mine. And I would like to see if yours floats okay. So I'm just going to share the final slide with you because here's the final slide to help you think about how you could make it different to mine. There's lots and lots of examples here of what you can use around the house. I look forward to seeing as many different styles, types of boats that you have made. And that's it for now. Bye-bye, reception. I look forward to seeing all of your boats. Bye-bye.